The Georgia Institute of Technology, commonly referred to as Georgia Tech, or, in the state of Georgia, as Tech or the Institute, is a public research university and institute of technology in Atlanta, Georgia. Established in 1885, it is part of the University System of Georgia and has satellite campuses in Savannah, Georgia, Metz, France, Shenzhen, China, and Singapore. The school was founded as the Georgia School of Technology as part of Reconstruction plans to build an industrial economy in the post-Civil War Southern United States. Initially, it offered only a degree in mechanical engineering. By 1901, its curriculum had expanded to include electrical, civil, and chemical engineering. In 1948, the school changed its name to reflect its evolution from a trade school to a larger and more capable technical institute and research university. Today, Georgia Tech is organized into 6 colleges and contains about 31 departments units, with emphasis on science and technology. It is well recognized as an elite institute for its degree programs in computer science, engineering, and business. Student athletics, both organized and intramural, are a part of student and alumni life. The school's intercollegiate competitive sports teams, the 4-time football national champion Yellow Jackets, and the nationally recognized fight song Ramblini Wreck from Georgia Tech, have helped keep Georgia Tech in the national spotlight. Georgia Tech fields 8 men's and 7 women's teams that compete in the NCAA Division I athletics and the football bowl subdivision. Georgia Tech is a member of the Coastal Division in the Atlantic Coast Conference. The idea of a technology school in Georgia was introduced in 1865 during the Reconstruction period. 2 former Confederate officers, Major John Fletcher Hanson, an industrialist, and Nathaniel Edwin Harris, a politician and eventually governor of Georgia, who had become prominent citizens in the town of Macon, Georgia after the Civil War, strongly believed that the South needed to improve its technology to compete with the Industrial Revolution, which was occurring throughout the North. However, because the American South of that era was mainly populated by agricultural workers and few technical developments were occurring, a technology school was needed. In 1882, the Georgia State Legislature authorized a committee, led by Harris, to visit the Northeast to see firsthand how technology schools worked. They were impressed by the polytechnic educational models developed at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the Worcester County Free Institute of Industrial Science, now Worcester Polytechnic Institute. The committee recommended adapting the Worcester model, which stressed a combination of theory and practice. The practice component including student employment and production of consumer items to generate revenue for the school. On October 13, 1885, Georgia Governor Henry D. McDaniel signed the bill to create and fund the new school. In 1887, Atlanta pioneer Richard Peters donated to the state 4 acres of the site of a failed garden suburb called Peters Park. The site was bounded on the south by North Avenue and on the west by Cherry Street. He then sold 5 adjoining acres of land to the state for $10,000, equivalent to $300,000 in 2021. This land was near Atlanta's northern city limits at the time of its founding, although the city has expanded several miles beyond it. A historical marker on the large hill in Central Campus notes the site occupied by the school's first buildings once held fortifications to protect Atlanta. During the Atlanta campaign of the American Civil War, the surrender of the city took place on the southwestern boundary of the modern Georgia Tech campus. In 1864, the Georgia School of Technology opened in the fall of 1888 with 2 buildings. One building, now Tech Tower, an administrative headquarters, had classrooms to teach students. The second building featured a shop and had a foundry, forge, boiler room, and engine room. It was designed for students to work and produce goods to sell and fund the school. The 2 buildings were equal in size to show the importance of teaching both the mind and the hands. Though, at the time, there was some disagreement to whether the machine shop should have been used to turn a profit. On October 20, 1905, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt visited Georgia Tech. On the steps of Tech Tower, Roosevelt delivered a speech about the importance of technological education. He then shook hands with every student. Georgia Tech's Evening School of Commerce began holding classes in 1912. The evening school admitted its first female student in 1917, although the state legislature did not officially authorize attendance by women until 1920. N.T. Wise became the first female graduate in 1919 and was Georgia Tech's first female faculty member the following year. In 1931, the Board of Regents transferred control of the Evening School of Commerce to the University of Georgia and moved the civil and electrical engineering from UGA to Tech. Tech replaced the Commerce School with what later became the College of Business. The Commerce School would later split from UGA and eventually become Georgia State University. In 1934, the Engineering Experiment Station, later known as the Georgia Tech Research Institute, was founded by W. Harry Vaughan with an initial budget of $5,000 equivalent to $101,281 in 2021 and 13 part-time faculty. In the mid to late 40s, President Blake Van Leer had a focus on making Georgia Tech the MIT of the South. Van Leer lobbied government and business for funds. The research building was expanded, and a $300,000 equivalent to $4 million in 2021 Westinghouse AC network calculator was given to Georgia Tech by Georgia Power in 1947. A new $2 million library was completed, new textile and architecture buildings completed, and at the time, the most modern gymnasium in the world was built. Founded as the Georgia School of Technology, Georgia Tech assumed its present name in 1948 to reflect a growing focus on advanced technological and scientific research. It is known as one of the three major prestigious institutes of technology in the United States, along with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the Northeast and the California Institute of Technology in the West. Unlike the similarly named institutions, the Georgia Institute of Technology is a public institution. Under President Blake Ragsdale Van Leer's tenure, Tech went through a significant change, expanded its campus with new facilities, added new engineering courses, and became the largest engineering institute in the South and the third largest in the U.S. Van Leer also admitted the first female students to regular classes in 1952 and began steps toward integration. He stood up to Georgia Governor Marvin Griffin's demand to bar Bobby Grier from participating in the 1956 Sugar Bowl game between Georgia Tech and Grier's University of Pittsburgh. After Van Leer's death, his wife Ella Lillian Wall Van Leer bought a house on campus and opened it to female students to support their success. She also set up the first sorority on campus, along with the Society of Women Engineers chapter. In 1968, women could enroll in all programs at Tech. Industrial management was the last program to open to women. The first women's dorm, Fulmer Hall, opened in 1969. Rena Faye Smith, appointed as a research assistant in the School of Physics in 1969 by Dr. Ray Young in X-ray diffraction, became the first female faculty member research in the School of Physics. She went on to earn a PhD at Georgia State University and taught physics. Women constituted 30.3% of the undergraduates and 25.3% of the graduate students enrolled in spring 2009. In 1959, a meeting of 2,741 students voted by an overwhelming majority to endorse integration of qualified applicants, regardless of race. 3 years after the meeting, and 1 year after the University of Georgia's violent integration, Georgia Tech became the first university in the Deep South to desegregate without a court order. There was little protest to this by Tech students, like the city of Atlanta described by former Mayor William Hartsfield. They seemed too busy to hate. In 1968, William Peace became the first black instructor and Marl Carter became the first black member of the homecoming court. In 1964, Dr. Calvin Huey became the first black player to play at Grant Field when he took the field for Navy. The first black person to play for Georgia Tech was Eddie McCashin in 1970. In 1965, the university bought the former Pickrick restaurant, a site of confrontation in the civil rights movement, which it first used as a placement center. Later, it was known as the Ajax Building. The building was razed in 2009. In 1988, President John Patrick Cresson pushed through a restructuring of the university. The institute at that point had 3 colleges: the College of Engineering, the College of Management, and the College of Sciences and Liberal Arts. Cresson reorganized the latter 2 into the College of Computing, the College of Sciences, and the Ivan Allen College of Management, Policy, and International Affairs. Cresson never asked for input regarding the changes, and consequently, many faculty members disliked his top-down management style. Despite this, the changes passed by a slim margin. Cresson was also instrumental in securing the 1996 Summer Olympics for Atlanta. A large amount of construction occurred, creating most of what is now considered West Campus for Tech to serve as the Olympic Village, and significantly gentrifying Midtown Atlanta. The Georgia Tech Aquatic Center was built for swimming events, and the Alexander Memorial Coliseum was renovated. The institute also erected the Kessler Campanile and fountain to serve as a landmark and symbol of the institute on television broadcasts. In 1994, G. Wayne Clow became the first Tech alumnus to serve as the president of the institute. He was in office during the 1996 Summer Olympics. In 1998, he separated the Ivan Allen College of Management, Policy, and International Affairs. On April 20, 2010, Georgia Tech was invited to join the Association of American Universities, the first new member institution in 9 years. In 2014, Georgia Tech launched the first massive online open degree in computer science by partnering with Udacity and ATT. A complete degree through that program costs students $7,000. It eventually expanded this program with its online Masters in Analytics in January 2017, as well as providing the option for advanced credits with a MicroMasters in collaboration with edX. Georgia Tech teams are variously known as the Yellow Jackets, the Ramblini Wreck, and the Engineers, but the official nickname is Yellow Jackets. They compete as a member of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. The institute mascots are Buzz and the Ramblini Wreck. The institute's traditional football rival is the University of Georgia. The rivalry is considered one of the fiercest in college football. The rivalry is commonly referred to as clean, old-fashioned hate, which is also the title of a book. Tech's fight song, "I'm a Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech," is known worldwide. First published in the 1908 Blueprint, it was adapted from an old drinking song, "Son of a Gambolier," and embellished with trumpet flourishes by Frank Roman. Then Vice President Richard Nixon and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev sang the song together when they met in Moscow in 1958 to reduce the tension between them. As the story goes, Nixon did not know any Russian songs, but Khrushchev knew that one American song as it had been sung on the Ed Sullivan Show. It is played after every Georgia Tech score in a football game. Many club sports take place at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center, where swimming, diving, water polo, and the swimming portion of the modern pentathlon competitions for the 1996 Summer Olympics were held. In 2018, the first annual College Club Swimming National Championship meet was held at the Macaulay Aquatic Center, and the hosts, the Georgia Tech Swim Club, were crowned the first ever club swimming and diving national champions. Many distinguished individuals once called Georgia Tech home, the most notable being Jimmy Carter, former President of the United States and Nobel Peace Prize winner, who briefly attended Georgia Tech in the early 1940s, before matriculating at and graduating from the United States Naval Academy. Juan Carlos Varela, a 1985 industrial engineering graduate, was elected president of Panama in May 2014. Another Georgia Tech graduate and Nobel Prize winner, Kary Mullis, received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1993. A large number of business people, including David Dorman, CEO at ATT Corporation, Duke, CEO at Walmart, David Garnett, CEO at Delta Airlines, and James Robinson, CEO at Coca-Cola Company. Tech graduates have been deeply influential in politics, military service, and activism, Atlanta Mayor Ivan Allen Jr. and former United States Senator Sam Nunn have both made significant changes from within their elected offices.